Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Your gun doctor here. SMG Season 4 tier list up and coming. SMGs are extremely interesting because they can be used super close quarter paired with certain ARs, but they can also be used longer range and then as sniper support guns. So we're going to be analyzing both and giving them a ranking regarding to that. Are they good just as a full SMG, or can they actually be used as a sniper support gun also? First up, let's just talk about the strongest shit that's right now on the market, and that's the Nailgun. Up to 17 meters is a 350 milliseconds time to kill, and then even after 17 meters, you still have 583, which is extremely strong. Obviously, you can't put a scope or anything on it. The Nailgun only has to hit 2 chest shots, 1 headshot, and 1 tummy shot for this, or just 4 chest shots in a row. Obviously, with that 1 headshot mixed in, you can save yourself a 1 chest shot, so you could go for a tummy shot. But all in all, the gun is just crazy. And then on range, it's just 1 headshot, 4 chest shots, and 1 tummy shot or arms and leg shot. It's a very forgiving gun, slow fire rate, only 20 bullets, no scopes, no nothing, no sights. Very banger. Kind of don't know why someone thought the Nailgun was a smart idea, but it's definitely strongest meta, solos, duos, trios, quads, wherever. I mean, with the low amount of bullets you need, you can wipe a whole quad technically with just the Nailgun going out, hitting every single shot. Then we have the Milano. The Milano went from worst gun to strongest meta gun in the whole Warzone right now. The Milano boasts a 417 milliseconds time to kill in close quarter, and that is up to 20 meters. And then after 20 meters, still 521 milliseconds realistic time to kill. For that, the Milano can hit 3 headshots, 1 chest shot, and 1 arm and leg shot / tummy. That is 417 milliseconds. But even if you get 1 bonus shot, you're at 521. So your optimal time to kill would be 417, but your worst time to kill is still better than most first time to kills already. And then on range, you can still achieve a 625 milliseconds with 7 chest shots only. But with 3 headshots and 3 body shots, you could actually get 521. Pinpoint precision beaming. And the first time to kill, we're talking about pulling that out with certain attachments up to 28 meters. So the Milano can even be used as a crazy sniper support, full SMG, and some people on Rebirth even use it as an AR. The Mp5 CODBR is one of these candidates where I said that's a full SMG. There's no way you can use this as sniper support. You can pull out the effective damage range a little bit, but the CODBR Mp5 wants to be used inside of buildings, can achieve a 422 milliseconds time to kill really good. But again, it's a full SMG. That being said, it's the best full SMG right now. You can zoom over the battlefield with a controller. That thing is insane. Mouse and keyboard, you can go for a hipfire ADS version. This wants to be played with a gun, AR, that you can easily whip out also in 15-20 meters. So kind of like a build that uses also the airborne elastic wrap. That's, for example, the C58, because the C58 could kill with 5 shots in the 15, 20, 30, 40 meter range very easily. So Mp5 CODBR, for example, with then the C58, very crazy. The Bison falls under the do not play tier. It just doesn't have a time to kill to even work. The ISO is also somewhere there. KSP and Striker are going all in this direction. You can see this perfectly here. Bison 734, 550. You don't want to have 550. KSP is chalked in every single way. ISO too. ISO can technically be a very good hipfire beamer, and if you hit a lot of headshots, it could be good. But all in all, it has no place here. It's not worth to be played. And yes, after 23 meters, it technically has an okay time to kill, but that means after 23 meters. So what are you going to build it? You're going to build an AR ISO to make it work in every way. The P90 technically close quarter personal up is okay, but realistically for this, you have to hit 2 headshots and 7 body shots. And the amount of shots you alone have to hit, even with this crazy fire rate, is just too high for 530 milliseconds time to kill. And you need to have 2 headshots for that already. I don't see that. Has good handling, but we're just going to pretty much die to using the P90 and seeing that that's a thing to work out. Then we do have the PPSH. I think the PPSH can be strongest meta, but I always feel like on mouse and keyboard, it doesn't feel the vibe. It feels always, for me personally, that with controller, you're going to be going crazy with this. With mouse and keyboard, you're going okay. The movement speed is really what gives the PPSH away. It's an absolute crazy gun. But at the same time, you can only do chest shots, because with 9 chest shots, you have 531 milliseconds time to kill. But then hitting headshots doesn't help you. You would have to hit an abundance of headshots to actually get the time to kill lower. So it's like 4 or 5 headshots to really get it lower. That means you rely on 531 milliseconds time to kill. There's no moment where a headshot mixed in kind of helps you. And that kind of makes the PPSH not super meta for me, because a lot of these guns have these crazy moments where you then just hit 2, 3 headshots in a row and suddenly it's like 300, 400 milliseconds time to kill, you vanish people away. Yeah, and that's kind of like what I'm so much missing on the PPSH. The Bullfrog is fantastic still. It has a 479 milliseconds close-up personal. You did the headshots for that. And after 20 meters, it's still okay. And you can easily use this as a sniper support gun too, because you have 15-meter effective damage range. So with the certain attachments, pull it out to like 22, 23 meters. 20 meters is like the sweet spot that I would like to hit as a sniper support SMG. And then if you focus on headshots, it works really well. We've been trying out a 3x build like the Milano as a sniper support, which also is very good. That being said, the Milano relies on 2 headshots, 3 chest shots, and 2 arm and leg shots to really go down on this. Other guns feel like a little bit better handling wise. The good thing about the Bullfrog is always 50 bullets safe, so you can actually spread them on other attachments. So I'd say the Bullfrog is also can compete off meta, where the other guns are just easier to play. The Bullfrog does do an insane job. It's like kind of strongest meta. It's can compete off meta. I would rather put it in can compete because it does not have the range. For example, the Milano can boast. The Milano is at 20 meters. The Bullfrog is at 15 meters. Same kind of goes with the LC10. The LC10 used to be absolute top tier meta, but the Milano is kind of the better LC10 now. The LC10 might have a higher fire rate than the Milano, but you need already 3 headshots, 2 tell me 2 and arm and leg shots for this, and then you still have a slower time to kill than the Milano. And then you also on range have a slower time to kill than the Milano too, even if you're hitting your headshots and body shots, because the damage fall-off just falls into place harder. This is 521, and for the LC10 is 608. Now kind of the LC10 used to be very good, and I think if you can't get used to the Milano fire rate, the LC10 is still nice, but technically the Milano does everything better than the LC10. So it's kind of, for me, the new LC10. That's why I would have the Milano strongest meta, and the LC10 can compete off meta. Talking about the CODBR Mp5, the Modern Warfare Mp5 still has a 451 milliseconds time to kill, slower than the CODBR Mp5, but regardless of that, fantastic to be played. You only need to hit 1 headshot and then 6 chest or tummy shots for this, so it's an extremely forgiving gun. If you hit multiple, it's really fine off to go. So the Mp5 hipfire build, zooming over the map, is still one of the best builds out there and feels absolutely fantastic. I think people have just forgotten on how easy the gun is to navigate and how much fun the gun is to play. The biggest problem with the Modern Warfare Mp5 here is, though, if you're going for a hipfire build, you kind of have to go close up and personal. And then if you look at all the other builds that kind of have like this super effective damage range up to 20 meters, that's kind of where you often come into a problem with the Mp5 Modern Warfare, because then after like these first damage range, you have an extreme fall off. So if you really only fight inside of buildings, you're going to be clapping. But if you're then outside of buildings, you just fall off really to the can compete tier instead of like top tier meta. I think the Mp5 kind of is a little bit behind the CODBR Mp5, whereas the CODBR Mp5 just feels a little bit more movement stable, and you can build that really crazy movement speed. That's like the CODBR thing, so where you can build super movement speed. But I think if you just mainly want to hipfire, that's where you're really good off with the Modern Warfare Mp5. The Mp7 is, for me, just viable. Close up, it's a 500 milliseconds time to kill, and that's already hitting some headshots. And then after 17 meters, it really falls off. Yes, you can play it. Yes, you can make it work. But you already need 2 headshots and 7 chest shots for alone this. So you'd have to stack even more headshots. Yes, you do have a crazy fire rate. That means if you hit 1 headshot, you're more likely to hit a lot of headshots. Also, this can be played hipfire style too. But all in all, I would just put it as viable, but not really as the super can compete tier. It is a 0 recoil gun, and yes, you do have a chance to fight these guns off, but you'll just come really to these situations where it's like, damn, how did I lose this? Oh yeah, MP7. I've been trying a lot around with the Ak74u to make it viable. It has an insane time to kill close up, 431. Then it has a huge damage fall off, which is actually crazy after 18 meters. I wanted to play it sniper support, but with a huge damage fall off, you kind of hit like that wall. The Milano, for example, damage fall off still good. The Ak74u damage fall off, super trash. You kind of want to play it as a full SMG, but a full SMG, there are other guns that are just better, especially because the iron sight is not that good on the Ak74u. The sprint to fire is not perfect. It's kind of like in the middle where it's okay, but it doesn't do the trick. The damage is really insane, but then the movement, the ADS time, the sprint to fire, it just doesn't feel like it. Other guns just feel so much better, so much secure, despite, for example, the Bullfrog having a lesser time to kill, but it just feels better. The Ak74u is a loft project of mine, but I can't just get it to work. And that's why I'm going to put it under the viable tier, not even can compete or strongest meta. Yes, you can play it. It is viable, but it's just not there. Then we have the Uzi, and we're talking about the Uzi with AE rounds. So not the normal Uzi, definitely AE rounds. It has a 498 milliseconds time to kill with 15 meters, and you can pull this effective damage range really far out so that the Uzi could perform as a sniper support. The very important part is that the second damage fall off is also very good. The great thing about the Uzi is it has a very high headshot multiplier. So if you then tend to really hit your headshots, you can push the time to kill very low. With one headshot is 55 damage. 3, you're already at 165 damage. It's quite crazy how easy you can push up your damage with the headshots and how much more forgiving it makes the gun. It's very easy to be played, very easy. You can pull out the effective damage range. As a sniper support gun, it's fire. As a full SMG, I wouldn't play it because there are better candidates for that. The Uzi goes for me into the viable tier 2. I would like to put it can compete off meta, but it's more for me a niche lover gun than it's, you know, like it can compete off meta. So it's viable. Same with the Ak74u. Other guns do better what it does. The Milano is like the super Uzi on crack, but the Uzi can still be played with the AU rounds. It's super fun. Only 32 bullets though, where the Milano then has 45 or 55 bullets even. The Fennec, a loft child, guys. 442 milliseconds time to kill close up, and even after 18 meters, still a decent time to kill. The Fennec is really crazy, and it only needs 2 headshots for that on a range 2. You can build this on super range, so you can pull out the range tremendously as a sniper support gun, or you could play this as a full SMG with still a decent range, and the Fennec has one of the lowest hip fires in the whole game. The good thing is the tummy and the chest shots do the same damage, arms and legs only a little bit less. So you can play this as a complete full hipfire SMG and even rival the MP5 and the CODBR MP5. The biggest problem here though is if you once miss your shot, so if you get up to a person and you shoot and you miss one shot, you miss 20 shots because the gun just shoots so fast. So it's like you click the trigger, it's like whoa, and that's kind of like where the Fennec falls off. So full SMG build is viable, sniper support build is viable, and some like hybrid build in the middle there. So the Fennec is definitely something that is a secret sleeper gun that can do very good. But after solos and duos, you do need sleight of hand, which then makes it weaker again because you kind of need to adapt for the low bullets or the fast bullet pass through that you then need to actually play sleight of hand. So the Fennec kind of, I want to put it in can compete off meta, especially in solos. In solos, it can work really good. You go close up and personal to you go close up and personal to someone and then just melt them away. Could even be strongest meta on that one. But then after you play trios, quads, duos even, you need to play sleight of hand, and that can be making the guns tremendously weaker. So I kind of bump it down to viable. It is really good and it can compete with all these guns, but it has like really the limitation of needing sleight of hand. And again, you miss one bullet, you miss all the bullets. The Mac10 used to be the rising star. 483 milliseconds time to kill. Needs to hit 3 headshots for that nowadays. 644 on the range. Has 15.5 meters, which is kind of fine. Has an even faster fire rate than the Fennec. But on top of that, can also be played with a 55 round max. So that's really, really good. Hindsight is extremely clean. I do think the Mac10 still deserves to be can compete off meta as a full SMG build. Sniper support, obviously not viable, but even as a full SMG compared to the MP5s and even the Fennec, is 15.5 meter effective damage range, which is really good. Like having straight up this effective damage range from the rib, where the MP5s can't really pull that out much. The Mac10 can pull that out a little bit, and you do have a very effective zooming rifle. The Aug MW Warfare is kind of in like a stupid spot. You have the 5mm version and you have the 9mm version and you have the 5.56 version. Both have a decent time to kill, as you see here, 4.52 and 4.87. The biggest problem with that is you can pull out the effective damage range, but as always, movement speed goes down, ADS time goes down. So you kind of can't bring the AUG in a situation where the movement speed is good and the ADS time is good and you have a clean hindsight and you put on a sight or something like this. It's kind of like trying to really make it work, trying to put it to a spot where it's insane. Sadly not. If they do buff the damage like they wanted to for real, which they haven't done yet, it might bump up over viable. Right now it's just viable. I would almost put it do not play because of the movement speed limitations. It's so slow and with the ADS times. But if they do buff the ADS time, if they do buff the damage, it could bump up. Right now, it's kind of like do not play to viable, if I'm honest with you. And I hate putting it in there. I kind of don't want to put it in there. I want to bump it up. Now, let me show you builds for all these guns, apart from the Nailgun, because that doesn't have a build. So you know how to play these guns in sniper support or full SMG way. Fan favorite, the Milano, can be built in multitude of different ways, which is pretty cool. So I played this as a sniper support with an agency suppressor, task force, then amber sight point, 45 round mag, and a snap point. That would be the ultimate sniper support build. The agency is good because you don't need more sprint to fire. You already have all the sprint to fire in the world. The amber sight point gives you more effective damage range and hip fire accuracy at the same time. With the snap point, you're just pinpoint precision. Hey, if you can play hindsight, that's fine. You can play a bruiser grip to move faster over the battlefield and even have a better hip fire close up and personal. Recently, we have also been experimenting with a 3x build on the Milano, and this is sniper support. Okay, this is not long range. You have a very good advantage on these 10, 20, 30 meter fights, and even inside buildings, you're very good, especially with the Ember side point. You have a decent hip fire and you get off to go. Now, you could also play this full SMG. The problem is, the thing about playing this full SMG is it just puts on the Tiger Team spotlight and the Bruiser grip. I would still keep Task Force and Agency Suppressor because, again, your sprint to fire is good. Your ADS time is insane. The native ADS time of this is under 200 milliseconds. So you can't really hurt your ADS time in any way. The gun is just an absolute zooming beamer. So you have a sniper support, you have a 3x sniper support, and then you have a full SMG version. The gun has just everything to offer what you kind of wish for, and you can play it in every single way and dominate on every single range. Mp5 Cold War, for me, the best build I've come now up with over time is a Task Force Agency Suppressored 5 milliwatt lasered Ember sighting point Bruiser grip build to just really zoom over the battlefield, also with the 50 round mag, and then hip fire plus ADS people down. The biggest problem with this gun is as soon as you shoot it, it has this initial pull on the MP5. It's like, but if you get used to that, you're very easy to go, especially if you jump around a corner, you start hip fire. The hip fire has the initial pull, but you can easily pull that down and hip fire. Then you ADS down and there's no initial pull anymore and beam the person to death. That's really how I enjoy playing my MP5 Cold War. Alternatively, I also put off the Ember side point and put on a collapsible stock for more sprint to fire time, but I haven't needed that yet so much, so I tend to go for the Ember side point to have a better hip fire, but at the same time to also pull out a little bit the effective damage range, so you're not coming to the shitty situation where 9.5 meters is really your fall off, because this is 10% more, this is 10% more, and this is 10% more, so you have a little bit better effective damage range on this gun. Going over to the actual MP5 that is the monolithic integral suppressor with the Merc foregrip. Obviously, no stock / collapsible here. Then we're having the 5 milliwatt laser. And then last but not least, if you're playing solo, that would be stipple grip tape. If you're not playing solos, that's the 45 round mag. And you're just zooming over the battlefield. It's absolutely crazy. It's so much fun to still play. You have the hipfire of doom, and people just get beamed away without you ever ADSing a single time. The Uzi has a very interesting barrel, and that is the first responder barrel. It gives you only damage range and bullet velocity without hurting your hipfire in any way, which kind of yells for me sniper support gun that still has crazy good hipfire. So you can put on the first responder barrel with a monolithic suppressor, get a very good long range with a 32 round AE mag, which also increases your range again. Then we still have a 5 milliwatt laser for pinpoint precision. Then we still have a 5 milliwatt laser to make this hip fire as low as the MP5s. It's kind of crazy. And then last but not least, I do play this with a PBX7 hold sight or GI mini reflex to really be able to hit these shots on the 10, 20, 30 meter ranges, because that's kind of where the Uzi is still very effective, especially when you're stacking up headshots. You could technically play this with the VLK optic too, just as we were playing the Milano, because it's a native low hip fire too. And then with the VLK optic, it's kind of like a 3x pinpoint precision beamer, 10, 20, 30, 40 meters, and then close quarter combat up, you would just use the 5 milliwatt laser hip fire to beam people down. But again, it's a weaker Milano at this point. Still can be played, still can be had fun with. For the Bullfrog, we've been going an experimental route recently. Usually it's Task Force, GRU Suppressor, Ember Side Point. Then I've been trying around with sides, but I've let them away recently. There was the Skeletal Stock and then also the Bruiser Grip for movement speed. That's the Sniper Support version I've been playing, and also the full SMG version I've been playing. Technically, if you're playing the full SMG, yes, you can put on a Sound Suppressor over the GRU Suppressor, but I kind of want to have the maximum effective damage range. Recently, I also put off the Bruiser Grip and actually slapped on a 3x, and then Skeletal Stock off plus the GRU Elastic Wrap for crazy ADS time. And with this as a sniper support, you have an insane effective damage range like the Milano. You can be pinpoint headshot precision beaming, and it's surprisingly efficient at how good this Bullfrog can be. Now you're going to say, Pony, you're crazy. I am crazy, but still works fantastic. LC10 is kind of as it has always been. I know people kind of build this on hipfire, but it makes no sense for me. The one giving away argument for the LC10 has always been super clean hindsight and insane effective damage range. So why would I not really do my most to pull the effective damage range out as much as I can, to then with a 45 round mag, no optic, and a Raider stock have a crazy good ADS time, sprint to fire time, and an effective damage range of like 32 meters roughly with all these attachments? It's so good. Why wouldn't I use it? But again, right now it's the poor man's Milano, or let's say it's the higher fire rate Milano that does less damage. Higher fire rate means though that it's more forgiving. So if you miss a single bullet, it's fine. The Milano, if you miss a bullet, your time to kill drops significantly. So this is kind of where we're realistically talking about better due to fire rate, worse due to damage. Something about the PPSH I've never liked. On controller, this gun feels really good on mouse and keyboard. I really can't just get used to it. I've been banging it with the task force, then the Gruß suppressor. There's the bruiser grip, the Tiger Team spotlight for the absolute movement speed, and the 71 round drum mag. Just zooming over the battlefield like a crazy maniac. I've been enjoying this due to the movement speed, but I just hate that I can't influence my damage with headshots that much. You're kind of stuck to your time to kill, and if you shoot second and you don't shoot first, that's where it really feels bad in my eyes. And you need perfect tracking to really hit every single bullet. You have a 7-shot to kill on the chest, so you need to hit all the 7 shots without a single strain. That needs perfect tracking. That needs a controller. Mac10, good old build, just going for the sound suppressor, maximum movement speed, patrol grip, Tiger Team spotlighted, 53 round drum mag, obviously gallantry, blueprinted zooming madness, together with the Raider stock. You do have a great sprint to fire time already, but the SAS Comet stock makes the iron sight a little bit weird. It kind of blocks vision. The Raider stock sits a little bit lower, and with this gun, you just have the movement speed of doom, clapping over the battlefield. Just, I don't know, you're literally flying, ice skating, doing everything. Technically, yes, you could swap the sound suppressor for the agency suppressor because your ADS time is already very good. And you do have the Raider stock for the bonus sprint to fire time, so you don't need the bonus sprint to fire time from the sound suppressor. Therefore, might be the better build with the agency, and the zooming you can do with this, it's brilliant if you just want to feel fast as fuck, boy. Then we're having the Fennec, and the Fennec is kind of a little bit tricky. We said there's a full hipfire build, and that's pretty standard. You're just going for the Merc foregrip 5mm lasered, no stocked, 40 round magged, and then you do actually put on the ZLR Saber. You don't use the Apex or the Deadfall because the Apex or the Deadfall each ruin your hipfire spray, whereas the Saber doesn't do this while giving you still sound suppression, damage range, and recoil control, which is really cool that you do have this attachment as the Saber barrel. That's like a super monolithic suppressor, which gives you then more effective damage range. It makes you an absolute effective hipfire beamer while still helping you to control the recoil. Now, you could also play this as a sniper support gun. As a sniper support, you kind of want to pull out the effective damage range as much as possible. You could do that with a Deadfall, but realistically, if you do play the Saber plus the Apex, you do have a little bit more effective damage range. Now, you could be playing this iron sight, but the iron sight is not perfect on this, so I do play this with a PBX7 hollow sight. Then you have to play the 40-round drum mag. And here comes now the problem. You do need a little bit more ADS time, so you kind of want to play the tac laser, but actually, you should play probably sleight of hand. That being said, this is a sniper support gun, so you don't need sniper support. You don't need sleight of hand on a sniper support gun because you're kind of like not fighting that many opponents at the same time. You snipe one, you push in, you beam one, then you reload, your teammate is with you. So you should be good up to go that you're not like full SMG where you really do need sleight of hand. Then again, you could also build this a little bit more hybrid, so not the full hipfire version, you'll build this in an ADS version. And when you're building this as an ADS version, you're going to put it on the Deadfall barrel. The problem with the Deadfall barrel is it completely ruins your hipfire. So with the Deadfall barrel, you're not going to hipfire with this ever. You're going to then build it on Deadfall, 45 round drum mag. You're going to put on sleight of hand, obviously, to be able to get this out fast. You can put on a Commando foregrip to make this gun feel a little bit better, but at the same time, the Commando foregrip steals you a little bit of movement speed, which is still fine. And I would then actually put on the stipple grip tape for more sprint to fire and a little bit better ADS time. Technically, if you're good with the recoil, you also don't have to play this. You can then put on the close quarter combat stock. I would not go for the no stock because the no stock just doesn't feel like it. Then it kind of steals really significant portions of recoil and makes the gun fly up into your hands and makes it feel unruly, especially with the iron sight. So I'd rather go for the stipple grip tape / Commando foregrip, or then for the close quarter combat stock for even more ADS time. And then you're really fast zooming over the battlefield. No, I wouldn't play the laser because the laser can be very annoying when you're shooting iron sight and that laser kind of points around there and it's very obstructive. So this is like the very effective, fast zooming hybrid Fennec. Then we have the 74u, and the 74u, it kind of doesn't have the super sprint to fire, doesn't have the kind of super ADS time. It has a good range, but you still need to hit headshots. The iron sight is okay. If you use task force and sound suppressor, you get a better iron sight. But if you use task force and sound suppressor, you can't use the Tiger Team spotlight because the Tiger Team spotlight kind of goes through the iron sight. But even with this iron sight, it's not that good because I kind of do hate the iron sight. So with the Gruß suppressor and a task force, I would rather put on a snap point. but also the gun has quite some horizontal deviation. So if you have the task force on, you kind of do need a special script to make this feel absolutely pinpoint precision beaming stable, especially when you then try to shoot someone on 20 meters. So that's why I'm saying if you want to play this full SMG, then it would be better to really play Sound Suppressor Task Force and then Bruiser Grip plus Tiger Team Spotlight. Even though if it blocks the side a little bit, you do want to play the bonus magazine of the 50 round drum mag because the 40 round drum mag is not worth it. But it just feels super weird because as you can see, it's kind of like everything. Then you kind of want to put this off. You want to need a better sprint to fire speed. You have a low shots to kill, so you could also play the 50 round drum mag only and then put the Tiger Team Spotlight back on. But it's like on this gun, but I kind of want to have a side because the iron side is not good. It's really hard to compromise on this gun in comparison to other guns. The Bullfrog with standard 50 bullets, for example, which also has an insane headshot multiplier. Therefore, the Bullfrog is just so much better, where this is kind of like you're trying to make it work, but every attachment you kind of swap around and you come to a point where you're like, but I want the other attachments, but I kind of want the other attachment. I hate the Ak74u. I love it. And I'm still trying to make it work, but it's giving me headaches. Recently, really, I'm trying this without ammunition because you technically have like 6-7 shot to kill. You have a super fast reload time. Therefore, I would say without ammunition, it's technically possible to be played also in quads. Mp7 is a really fun gun to play because it has super hipfire. It has one of the lowest hipfire spreads in the game. So you can actually go for the 5mm laser, no stock to Merc 4 gripped, 60 round magged or 50 round magged in this regard to have a little bit better movement speed. And then you can just put on the monolithic suppressor and you have that zooming MP7 where you really fly over the battlefield. You just want to have some fun. Go flying. You can even put off the Merc 4 grip because the Merc 4 grip does slow you down when you're trying to fly. And then you can play the barrels because again, this gun also has a barrel that does not ruin your hip fire. And that would be the strike barrel. The strike barrel then gives you good damage range and bullet velocity where you then don't have an early damage fall off. Then with the monolithic and everything, you can just zoom over the battlefield while just being able to actually still pinpoint precision beam on range. Hindsight is super clean. Recoil is low. The MP7 is still love. It's just not that good. Last, we have the AUG, and there comes a lot of the problems with the AUG. So you could play this as a 32 round mag version, but then if you're playing quads, trios, and so on again, you kind of want to have sleight of hand, but then you're missing attachment again. The iron side of the AUG is not really good. You do have a couple of barrels that give you damage range and bullet velocity without ruining hip fire. So you could also put this on and the ADS time wouldn't be that low. Then with a monolithic suppressor to really be close up and personal, or you could really build this then full on the hip fire build, but you do need sleight of hand. The hip fire is not good as other guns, and then you don't have the movement speed because the movement speed is generally sluggish, and you kind of do need to hit headshots with this. So you're going to put on the monolithic suppressor probably, and then you would have to play a side to really hit your headshots very good. Or if you're playing this as a 5.56 version, if you play the 30 round Mac, you would need to put sleight of hand on. If you play the 60 round Mac, you're losing your hip fire crazy. If you're playing this as a full long barreled version that's super long range, then with the 60 round Mac, you don't need sleight of hand, but then you would have to put on tack laser and actually stipple grip tape to have any kind of ADS time. But now your ADS time is as low as some ARs or LMGs even. The AUG is such a problem child. There's so many things that are wrong with this gun. They need to work on the movement speed minuses. They need to work on the ADS times. The AUG needs so much overhaul to in any way be able to be used as what it kind of wants to be used as. No, you can't really make it a sniper support gun because as a sniper support gun, you have such a low movement speed and at the same time ADS time that is not worth it compared to other guns which can fly as sniper support guns with great ADS times, like the Milano, for example. I hate it. I love it. It's my first gun. It's my most played gun. I had this golden after like the first time I had this golden, my first Modern Warfare gun ever golden as I started playing Modern Warfare, not Warzone. Just ain't it. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about our ranking? Would you agree? Would you disagree? Would you move some things? What do you think? I am really enjoying this one. I think the SMGs are very varied, so you can play quite a lot. You're not limited to a few choices, and that is really cool to see. That being said, still though, yes, the nailgun is super stupid. If you fight a team of nailgun users, you have no chance. Considering that the nailgun only has to hit 2 headshots, like every nailgun user of a quad only has to hit 1 chest shots and you die straight away. So if you fight 2 nailgun users, they each have to hit only 2 shots and you're dead, where other guns need a little bit more. So the focus fire of nailguns is just crazy. All in all, though, we're very wide and fun meta. Together with the assault rifle meta, this is super cool. You can mix and match this fairly nicely. Again, as I said, you kind of have to look at the effective damage range of the guns to then see, do they want to be paired with a gun that was a fast ADS AR? Can they be paired with an LMG? For example, the Milano can be paired with an LMG because of the very high effective damage range. We're then saying that the LMG only gets whipped out at 30 meters, Whereas with other guns, you kind of have to say, cool MP5, that your AR gets whooped out on 15 meters already. So you want to have like one of these quick ADS builds like the C58 that doesn't need a foregrip, that can be played with an airborne elastic wrap for quicker ADS times. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for also watching the assault rifle tier list. Yes, there's also an assault rifle tier list. That was the last video before this. Don't forget to subscribe to find your way back for more. I think we have all the guns covered right now that you know really what to mix and match, how to mix and match, what you can play in the current meta. Yes, there's still the LMGs, the TAC rifles, and so on. We'll see if we do cover them too. The LMGs are quite few, and there's not that much variety, so it's quite sad. It's like, do not play, do not play, do not play, do not play, do not play. So I'll see if there's worth a video to make about that or not. Now have a fantastic day. Don't forget the live stream from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Twitch TV P4wnyhof, and see you in the next video.